Hello and welcome back to the ministry and welcome back to my hair. Okay, so today we're getting serious and we're doing a teaching for this video. What are we teaching on? Jesus stepping on the serpent's head. Let's begin. Trials. When the serpent tempted Jesus to turn the stone into bread. This is a very famous scripture about Jesus coming out of the 40 days of fasting and the serpent confronting him with 3 tests. Now, pause. In the recent days, a lot of us may have been experiencing a series of tests. As you recall, I said as of recently, I was dealing with a bit of spiritual warfare around my head. Next to that, I was also dealing with the fact that my dad was sick. That, in combination of the two, shows that there is a bit of spiritual warfare, ergo a test of some sort that is being transpired. What is the first thing that one might think when illness transpires in the household? One might go for spirit of infirmity. That's usually where I go for spirit of infirmity. So I start breaking down and rebuking, tearing down anything that could be an issue. 9 times out of 10, and I learned this from Tiffany Montgomery, that if you're dealing with a spirit of infirmity, you're dealing with a spirit of unforgiveness. There are certain things that you need to be delivered from in relation to forgiveness and spirits that are attached to your unforgiveness. Envy, pride, jealousy, bitterness, anger. All of these things are in relation to your unforgiveness that are blocking you from the ability for you to move forward in what it is that you are called to walk into. So my father fell ill for about a week, and now the test in that is we're living through a certain form and a time frame for the past 2 years that there are certain illnesses being spoken of 24/7 on the news. Certain symptoms, certain things, mimicking certain other things. One might be tested into believing that the illness that is prevalent may have been the issue, at the very least, to detect or make certain that that wasn't the issue. That's what I was dealing with. I was in a phase of, okay, is that something that I need to be concerned about? Is that something that could be a potential issue? You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, that was test number 1. Number 2, I was going through some spiritual warfare, and I couldn't figure out where the source of my headache and my thing was. So being tested in, okay, should I take this medication? Should I not take this medication? Is prayer going to get rid of this thing? X, Y, Z. Do you need to do this? Going through spiritual warfare over my mind. What does the enemy do to Jesus when he is offering him the 3 tests? He starts messing with his head. The enemy will start to speak louder than the situation in which you're in, and you are being tested, and you have to be wise enough to be able to say, okay, this is just a testing situation. What is actually happening in this season? What is actually happening in this scenario? How and which am I supposed to step into this thing? You're supposed to use wisdom when you are in a test. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him. If you are the Son of God, these stones can become bread. Jesus answered, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but on every word that cometh from the mouth of God. In the midst of your test, you're going to be like, okay, what's this? A lot of us are in seasons where we're expecting a move of God to do his miracle working power, a shift of some sort, whether it be in our living condition, our living situation, our finances, marriage, relationships, connections, partnerships, business, wherever. It's the full gamut of everything in which you have been putting your hands to and praying for. Yes? So with that being said, you're kind of in that headspace of, okay, what should I be doing right now, because this is a situation. What should I do? Moses, when he was asked by the people, we desire water, we desire what have you, and he was frustrated, he struck the rock instead of speaking to it. His test was to know that he was to speak to the rock in that season and not hit it out of frustration. A lot of us are in situations that have gotten us to a point of frustration, and the Lord is testing our ability not to get irritated. I was listening to the pastor the other day, Dr. Whitaker, and she was saying the enemy is going to come and he's going to cause friction, frustration, and all of these types of things. But as a child of God, you are supposed to walk in your authority, that you are supposed to know, yes, this may be the thing in which you are dealing with in this moment, but it is but yet a moment. Sit in and stand in the Word of God in the midst of your frustration and use wisdom. Because in your wisdom to handle the situation, whatever your situation is, will open up the door for the breakthrough in which you are seeking to find the answer for whatever it is, whether it's a move, whether it's a marriage, whether it's an open door for a relationship, whether it's your finances, whatever that thing is. Okay? So with that being said, you have to remember what the Word showed you. Sometimes, and I'll give you this little inkling. Sometimes what the Lord will do, just before he tests you, is he will either give you the information to pass the test. Example, what used to always happen to me, I would end up in a testing scenario because I celebrate the Sabbath. So when you do the Sabbath, on the next 24 to 48 hours, you're open for attack. And it's not so much that it's an attack, it's the Lord allowing the enemy to sift you in some way so that you can see what it is that the Lord is trying to show you. And I remember this particular one situation. The minister in which I was listening to, same doctor, Dr. Whitaker, had released a word where she gave intimate detail of every situation and everything in order to pray into alignment for the vindication of a scenario or accusation that was coming against a person. That day I was like, oh, okay, whatever, but something happened that I was unable to finish watching the word. I think I was able to watch the first part, but I was not able to finish it, where she really got into the meat of the teaching. The next day, I walked into a scenario at church, mind you, where I was being accused. I went through an entire 2-hour situation with a particular person where I was being heavily accused, dealing with a whole scenario, and I knew something was off because I heard in my spirit before this particular person showed up, they're going to come find you. I said, they're going to come find me? Why are they coming to find me? For what? And then they came to the church, and the second they come find me, they started accusing me of doing something that I had nothing to do with. And I was like, excuse me? And then after the service, it was 2 pastors, me and this person. And we were trying to help calm the scenario. A controlled situation that the Lord has allowed for you to be tested. So I was in turn being tested because I had never been accused to this degree before. And I didn't understand why this person was doing this because I had done nothing but be nice to this person for them to accuse me of what they were accusing me of. And I'm freaking out and having this, and I listened to what the people, 2 pastors, were saying while this person was talking. 1, they did not believe the person because they knew my character. 2, what they were hearing from this person as the person was acting up, they were saying, stand still to me and you know what to do. And I was like, I know what to do. I'm still here freaking out, having heart palpitations, because I'm like, I didn't do what this person is saying I did. What are you talking about? But when the person stepped away, I was left in the sanctuary in the lower part of the church alone. And in that moment, I listened and I heard what the woman said. You know what to do. I was like, oh, I stepped over to that sanctuary, the altar, and I started praying fervently. When I tell you, it broke immediately. Yesterday, it's funny enough, I was listening to a word by Dr. G, and she was saying that God will allow certain tests, or maybe you're in the midst of a condemnation, but when you recognize what happened and you come into alignment with the Lord's will for the situation, it breaks. That moment, the scenario of this lie or this test broke, because then as soon as I started intently praying directed toward the situation, the woman that was accusing me ran out the church. When I say she ran out the church, she ran so fast. I've never seen nobody run so fast in my life. Literally, I wish I had a video of how fast this woman ran out the church. She got out of there because she knew that as soon as I started praying, she was in trouble. Only to, after the scenario had transpired, everything was over, I got a chance to sit down and go to the computer and sit down and listen to the ministry that I had not finished listening to. Did I come to find out that the minister was talking about, oh, if you were attacked and you need vindication, this is what you do. Guess what? Guess what I did? I went into prayer again, speaking the scriptures over that situation. 1, the Lord released a financial blessing unto me that day. Right after that woman left and I had prayed, a woman came in after that I had never met from that church before. And she said she realized what I had just gone through, and she said, I'm going to bless you. First thing I did when she blessed me with what she blessed me with, which was a financial blessing. I don't remember how much it was, but I put $20 on the altar, and I think I had if I'm not mistaken, $40 left. I got something to eat, calm my nerves, then I went to the library and finished watching that Vindication message. Test. That was a test for me. Now, moving into the next part. Now, this is something that I have been dealing with on my own in life. Having recently gone and went to a fast. I fast often, so this ain't nothing new. I have a real problem with snacking in the middle of the night. Snacking, if you remember my article on about over a month ago on comfort food, I had an issue with, but I realized how bad it was when I started to notice that I was eating junk food at the time. Now, under most circumstances, now this was back in 2000, it was somewhere around June 2017, I'm not sure, that I wrote this article. But from then till now, I have a real control over my midnight snacking. And it's funny enough, last night I was thinking about, just before today, I was like, I'm gonna eat me a piece of cake, because I got one last piece of chocolate cake from my birthday cake. I like, and it's sitting on that table and it's staring me in the face, and I'm just like, I want you so bad. But I said, you know what, I'm not gonna do it. And last night I did not eat it, and I was thinking about eating that sweet potato pie that was in the refrigerator last night. And it was funny because the enemy was trying me last night. He said, yeah, it's like, Lord, can I eat that? And I'm like, yeah, you can eat that. But I see, Lord, what the Lord doing with me? And I was like, yeah, you can eat it. You can do whatever you want to do. I was like, oh, good. I'm like, I'm not going to eat it. And I went to sleep without eating it. And this morning the Lord blessed me, because I have the house to myself. Today I have the house to myself. So, am I sitting outside because I have the house to myself? No, I'm sitting outside because I like sitting outside in the fresh air. I could be recording this inside, but I like the fresh airness of sitting outside. But yeah, I've gotten under that under control, because now I did eat a few pieces of cake at the beginning of this week, because it's my birthday cake. It was my birthday. I ain't have no issues around it, but something in my spirit, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what it was. Today is the first day, I believe, of the full moon, and because of that, a lot of people, and it's funny, the alignment for this, I was already doing something and somebody else mentioned it, and I wasn't going to participate the way that they were doing it, but I was like, okay, let me do that anyway. And look at the blessing I got. I am not having to deal with my father all day. So I have the ability to take time and focus on some things that I wouldn't be able to focus on with the TV on all day. Catch 22, tomorrow is supposed to be a no TV day. But, yeah. Now, some have popcorn and cookies and potato chips and all these things on character, at least not chocolate chip cookies or Cheetos. You haven't had those. They won't harm you. Then you find yourself doing it every night. I don't do this often. I find that I don't sit and eat sweets no more. Because I have come into an alignment with a consecration regimen, depending on how I consecrate, I rarely eat. I come out of my consecration, I eat for those 2, 3, whatever days I have, then I go back in for a certain period of time, and I come back out and I eat. But the Lord takes care of me once I come out of his consecrations. I eat well, I'm good, my body's good. So, with that I don't really have any more problems in this area. You have dinner, you fast all day, you had the right to do that. It's my favorite. Near a period, let me live. I've had that experience that I would fast. I'm a hardcore faster. Some people, I never heard this before, but they say, oh, I don't fast when I'm on my period. I do. But what I've noticed happens is this. I'm noticing that I'll either, depending on how I fast and when I fast, depending how close I am to my period, let's say I fast, or I'm about to go into a fast, or I fasted a few days this week and a few days at the end of the week. If I go into a fast at the beginning of the week, just before the time frame of my secondary fast, what will happen is that 3 days where I'm not fasting, my period will come on. And then the next 3 days, I ain't got to worry about it. Sometimes what will happen is I will fast for 3 days and my period will be triggered. If it's too much information, what have you. You know that your period cravings are no joke. Blah, blah, blah. Your body is sneaky. It start talking to you. And you'll start to refuse the french fries and all of that. And you'll be like, I'll just eat some potato chips. And you say, no. Then you have brownies. And you're like, no. Then I make her eat some chicken noodle with potato soup. That chicken noodle be good, though. Vegan. Chicken noodle with the vegan gardenia chicken, and then you have the potatoes. And if you don't have the vegan chicken, and then you make it with chickpea and nutritional yeast, bruh. And you make the chicken noodle, no chicken, no potatoes, and it says, what can I do? There's some mashed potatoes in the cabinet. Why? Ooh, I got 3 patches of mashed potatoes. This is just suggesting food to you. But that's what happened to Jesus, was it not? And it's like, ooh, then I haven't had those mashed potatoes in months. Gotcha. Then you eat mashed potatoes with your dinner for the week, and you feel horrible because you gave into it. Same things happens with bread. You don't think about it, and the fact that you are eating bread, toast, sandwich, donuts, honey buns, muffins, pancakes, waffles, dinner rolls, cornbread, cake. I actually stopped eating pancakes. I'm so proud of myself. I stopped eating pancakes about 3-4 weeks ago. Bless you, Jesus. I hear the angels. I only eat, it was my birthday, so I ate cake. But I haven't really been eating bread. And it's funny, because I made me a piece of French toast out of a roll the other, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. And when I made that, I noticed that I didn't taste it the way I normally taste it. The flavor wasn't as intensified as I thought it would, even with the syrup on it. I was like, I don't really want this no more. All the breads, and I'm sure a lot of us eat all those in every meal or two. But it's like, I have cut out eating that much bread. The only thing I had was my cake. Then you have the starches, and that's a white flag in everything. There's starch and sugars. And because I fast off sugar for about 3 days, several times, you can taste sugar even in peanuts. You taste sugar in anything when you fast off sugar. And it's ironic because my dad, notice if you're around a person that doesn't fast off sugar, when you're fasting off sugar, they eating everything this week. And he ain't supposed to be eating it because he's diabetic. So turn the stone into bread. Man cannot live on bread alone. Think about that. Most people think of fornication as a sin, and the things that we put our mouth on. Remember, gluttony is a sin before God. 2, dealing with one's running rampant in the earth and the world's obesity problem. For Christians, it's different. We are not like the rest of the world, and we have to do what God tells us in order to sustain our bodies. Eating right, exercising, not giving into our cravings. And we know that we may even have bad habits, so on and so forth. And the best way to tell these bad things, so on and so forth, you are dealing with rejection, flesh, rising up against you, trying to resist it. The Lord showed me in the consecration I did a few weeks back that a young woman that I follow, I was involved in one of her lives. I came out of the consecration. When I came out of the consecration, the Lord revealed to me all these things I was dealing with, and I had to go back into a 24-hour fast. You can never eat these things. Yes. Wait. Flesh rising up. You're hungry. You're craving things like, if you don't eat it, you will die. What the enemy does to me is I'll start watching food videos. If I'm not supposed to be eating, I will begin to watch food videos, which I'm not supposed to be doing. You have to try your best to sustain your regimen the best way. Sometimes it's bad for you, so on and so forth. So you have to reject the things of the flesh, so on and so forth. And it comes down to eating things, just having to train yourself in discipline of what you eat and how you eat them. Popcorn, eating one serving every 2 weeks. Or if you like hot chocolate, you drink 1 cup once in a great while. I haven't had any hot chocolate in about 2 months. And you know something funny? This article is about 5 years old, and it's about correct. It's been about 2 months since I sat down and had me a good cup of hot chocolate. May have been a little bit longer than that. So I believe it is safe for me to drink 1 cup and don't drink any more for a month or 2. Eating eggs with jelly or bread once a month or every 6 weeks, because I've come to the understanding that I'm lacto-ovarian, and lacto-ovarians still eat eggs, and some still eat milk, cheese, so on and so forth. I am actually lactose intolerant, so I do not do the milk part, but I will on occasion eat eggs, because I don't always have access to just egg. So I'll eat a regular egg if I'm craving something protein in that format. So Um, I used to eat a lot of chicken, but I don't know what it does to my system when I eat meat. So you have to manage it, and like for the next 15 meal, you may have a problem. So with if what I've come to understand at the time, I don't think I had come to the understanding of balancing my diet and fully going on vegan chicken, because I think I came into the vegan chicken understanding when I went to New York, and I hadn't left for New York at this particular point in time when I wrote this article. And I do vegan chicken all times. I don't eat regular meat, and I now know how to make chickpea chicken, so I know how to substitute certain broths with chicken vegan bouillon cubes, and that way I flavor my noodles and so on and so forth, my pastas, for having dinner, the week of the food, what kind of meals that I'm eating, so on and so forth. Unless you're on Weight Watchers or something, and we are trained to be in a route that we need to be truly careful about how we are dealing with our bodies, what we are putting into them, and what is unhealthy. The snake replaced all of it with vegan, but if you are still eating like a glutton, it is not good for you. So if you let your flesh, the serpent, control you, your spirit man control you, and your spirit man, you have to have an understanding of what you're supposed to be doing and what you're not supposed to be doing, what your triggers are, what aren't your triggers. If it's related to food, whatever that test is. And it's so funny, I was thinking about this last night with the cake and the sweet potato pie. So know what your triggers are and know how not to give in to them. That's not to say that I'm not going to eat me some sweet potato pie or chocolate cake tomorrow. But I know that I am sitting in the control of, I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to step outside of my boundary today. But sometimes what I'll do is, for instance, I got a lot of work I need to get done today. I'm going to get all that work done, but tomorrow I'm going to treat myself. It is what it is. With the permission of the Lord. If the Lord says no, then no. But yeah. But that's the word. I hope this bless you. This is Taj McCameron. Until next time, much love, faith, peace, and blessings. Bye-bye.